Hey guys, what is up, and welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. And in this one, I'm going to be talking about a new post that just got released by Riot fairly recently. Now, this is going to be an interesting post. They're essentially talking more about the preseason 2021 changes that they're going to be doing, which are big ones, where essentially they're reworking like a lot of stuff regarding items. It's like the majority of it, and they're going to be reworking all the different classes of the items and things like that. It's a pretty interesting post, so let's get into it. If you guys are excited, if you enjoy this video, whatever, don't forget to smash that like button, but let's just jump right into it. So let's talk about it and see what exactly Mr. Retail Games is doing. So first things first, stats and effects. Healing and grievous wounds. Healing has become more prevalent in the game over the last few years, and we'd like to address a few specific problems. It absolutely has. I mean, pretty much everyone heals, and if they don't heal, well, they're probably taking Conqueror, Taste of Blood, Ravenous Hunter, probably other. It's just, it's getting out of hand. Healing has become so common that grievous wounds has gone from a contextual choice meant for healing heavy games to a viable option in most games. True. We're looking across runes, items, and champion kits to trim some healing where we think it's necessary or unnecessary, which it should in turn reduce the necessity of grievous wound options. Okay, so they're essentially going to try to reduce healing overall, which is good. On the other hand, grievous wounds can sometimes feel underpowered when trying to stop a very strong healer. Also true, especially when they have snowballed. Imagine a Vladimir with a Yumi. Ain't no grievous wounds gonna help you with that one. We're looking to make grievous wounds a sharper effect that more effectively counters extreme healing situations and gives up a bit of its upfront power. Okay, that's interesting actually. All right, so they're trying to make it a lot more focused on like really countering like hard healing. Cooldown reduction rework. We're reworking CDR to enable more flexibility in how we use stats and create clearer build choices, while still filling the purpose of letting you cast abilities more often. The new stat is called ability haste. So CDR is just completely getting reworked, which is interesting. Ability haste's power stacks linearly. Currently, CDR's power stacks exponentially, so the more CDR you get, the more valuable it becomes. For example, 10% CDR is 11% more casts, while 40% CDR is 66% more casts, and 50% CDR is 100% more casts. I mean, okay, makes sense. Ability haste will provide a linear power scaling model for more ability casts. So for instance, 10 ability haste will only be 10% more ability cast, 20 and 20, 30, 30. Okay, makes sense. That's pretty cool, I guess. So it's much more linear. So getting just 10%, so also just getting 10 ability haste is already pretty damn good. Or no, not that good actually, sorry. See, the more you, okay, I guess it just makes it more obvious so that it's actually a nerf if anything, because if you get 40% more ability haste, it's only 40% more as opposed to right now where it's 66% more, but it also might be a cheaper stat to purchase overall, and you can probably stack it up even further, maybe. We'll see. This makes it so every amount of ability haste you buy has the same impact rather than an exponential one. The conversion of CDR to haste won't be 1-to-1 because that'd be a flat nerf. Oh, okay, never mind. Which isn't the intention. You should have the potential to reach the same frequency of spell slinging, but the way you get there will be more linear. Okay, so it's more of like a passive. I guess it, in theory, won't actually change too much, in a literal like gameplay, like feeling wise sort of aspect. But in terms of like raw numbers, it will, I guess. Ability haste is uncapped. Oh, CDR's multiplicative scaling becomes so powerful that we need to have a 40% cap to limit its power. With the new linear scaling model, we don't need this restriction anymore. This opens up some cool new build options that sacrifice other power to double down on casting fast. Oh, that actually, I do like that. That's really cool. That's going to make things a lot more interesting on certain champions where I can't think of something off the top of my head. But imagine like something that just like a Jax. E up every like 2 seconds. Okay, that's just not, okay, that's not balanced. We'll see. Hopefully it won't be that stupid. Tenacity. Tenacity is a unique and useful stat, but we think its interactions across different types of CC are confusing and unintuitive. Ideally, we want the player to ask the question, is there a lot of hard CC in this game? I mean, we already do, I think. And know that Tenacity will be an effective counter. I mean, for the most part, I feel like we already do that. Or at least I do that. Towards this goal, we are making a change so that Tenacity will reduce the duration of knockups. Good. It always should have. We're not going to have Tenacity affect displacements, so knockbacks or pulls, which makes sense because that's purposes movement. Okay, that makes sense. That's good. So essentially, TLDR, they're making Tenacity reduce the duration of knockups, like an Alistair Q, for instance, which is good. It should. It always should have reduced it, which is great. Hopefully, it doesn't nerf Yone though. Hey, that's not okay, Riot Games. He just came out. But moving along, that's a good change though. Overall, like from like a non-biased perspective, it's a good change, and it should be like that. Also, by the way, at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about a bit of leaks that have came out. Anyways, jungle items. So last preseason included a successful update to starting items for the supports role that allowed them to immediately focus on the wider shop for more satisfying options and more choices. We're applying the same treatment to junglers. Junglers or jungle items will be a starting item that requires no additional investment. Oh, that's pretty cool. Junglers should get the stats and resources, resource bonuses they need from this item so they can immediately start working on the rest of their build. We're still working out the details, like how you can acquire a champion targeted smite. But early testing of this direction has been exceptionally positive. That's pretty cool. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. It will mess up with some builds because I know some junglers like Rengar sometimes, Hecarim, they don't actually really finish the jungle item. They just keep it at like a single, like a talisman, and that's it or something, you know. And they don't change it whatsoever, or machete, and that's it. And they don't upgrade it at all. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out for those champions. So that's pretty cool for jungle. Moving along, Marksman, more strategic choices. Marksman currently suffers from too many must-buy items in their build. That crowd out most opportunities for situational buying. Our goal is to offer more contextual items, item choices that integrate essential DPS stats across more items so that these choices become available. I feel like they say that every time. Honestly, like, it's good that they're trying to do this again, but I feel like I've read this exact same thing for like pretty much almost every single time they've ever reworked. And like they said the exact same thing, I swear, for the lethality rework. When they made the lethality rework, they said the literal same thing. Nothing changed. You pretty much still, I mean, slightly, I guess, is better in terms of, you know, diversification, but it's still, you still pretty much buy almost the same thing. Let's be honest here. Agency options. A very common issue that Marksman players report is that they are a powerful but overly team reliant. I mean, true. Overall, we think that this is a fundamental and healthy element for the class because it creates a differentiated set of roles to create a rich team play and strategy. Imagine how much less strategy there would be if every class was the same. True. But we also think that we can introduce some items that allow Marksman players to opt into more tools that help them survive when not supported by a coordinated teammate. These won't come free though. So get some of this solo agency players. Will have to lessen their best in class DPS. Okay, that makes sense. That's good. So if you want to focus more survivability, you'll sacrifice DPS for that. Makes sense. More impactful, but hopefully that actually makes sense because at the moment that's what Death's Dance is. You sacrifice damage for survivability. But man, that item just gives you too much damage and too much survivability regardless. It's ridiculous. Anyways, more impactful with one item. We still want Marksman to be the class that is defined by its late game carry potential, but we are shifting the stats on their first buy slightly so they feel like a more competitive class after one item. So you're essentially power spiking them at one item, so that no longer really makes them a late game champion. They just power spike after one item. They have to be really careful with that one. That's dangerous. And then fill some item gaps. Some games and matches or matchups make Marksman feel like there is a missing item from what they need. We're looking to offer more appropriate okay, they pretty much already said that. Cool. Next. Mage items. First item choice. Mages today suffer from a set of first items that don't have clear trade-offs or situational purpose, making their first item choice basically predetermined in each meta based on which item tuned is the strongest. I mean, yes and no. Usually it's true. Like, it's pretty much you either go Ludens or you go Archangel, and that's about it. But to be fair, nowadays, GLP is also really strong. So I actually think the three are pretty good. It depends on what you're playing. I actually think it's in a decent spot, personally. In contrast, we think their mid to late options are pretty rich with some unique counter effects and actives. I actually disagree completely. I'll be honest. I could be wrong, but I completely disagree. In fact, I literally think it's the opposite. I actually think now, between things like GLP, Ludens, and Archangel, those three, yeah, it really depends on where you're playing and how the game is going to be going, in my opinion at least. I actually think it kind of matters on that. If you're long-range mage, Ludens. If you're a mid-range mage, Archangel's pretty good. If you're someone that wants to land CCs, go for GLP, you know? And if anything, I think late game is where it's not really rich anymore. There's just no options. You go Leandries, Rabadons, probably a voice staff, and probably a Zhonya's. That's it. That's pretty much, you just have to go those items every single time. So I think it's completely the opposite, personally. New iconic effects for artillery mages. We have some exciting ideas to create a fantasy item for artillery mages. So like Kog'Maw. First thing that comes to mind is a Kog'Maw, Zerath, maybe Ziggs. It's pretty cool. And ability haste as a choice. So with the rework of CDR, we can use the stat to create another decision point in mage builds. This allows for some super haste focus. That's pretty cool, actually. Nice. AP fighter and assassin items. So we're going to ignore this text. It takes too long to read. Let's just go into what they're actually doing. Tailored early build items. So these AP champs that have been borrowing mage items for as long as they have existed. We want to offer some early buy choices that match the patterns and stats that they want. So the first thing I think of is Echo and Akali. Echo goes Gunblade. Akali goes Gunblade. Echo goes Proto Bolts. Neither mage really gets that for the most part unless you're playing Galio or something. So I don't know. I just feel like not really hitting the mark here too clearly, personally, but maybe they're still in, in the work in progress. And then bridge into tank or pure AP later. So like AD fighters, we don't think that these champions need to build entirely their own category of items to have a great experience. Depending on the champion or game, we want them to transition to tank or pure AP items to finish. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. This one is like, I don't know. I don't fully agree with this one, and I just really don't fully agree with this one at all. Moving along, though, let's see what else we have here. AD fighter items, so tailored defensive options. Fighters today only have one size fits all defensive options in Sterak's, Gage, or Death's Dance, based on which champion you're playing. I mean, why not just, most of them just get both, regardless of whether the enemy team has more physical or magical damage. I mean, true. We want to expand on fighter-specific defensive items to give more specialized options, or you can just nerf these items so that the other ones are actually worth getting. I mean, I'm just saying, these items are just completely overtuned. Core item diversity. Core fighter items like Black Cleaver, Triforce, bring fighter builds both to the power they need and iconic play patterns, but there aren't decisions being made by fighters early in their build. We want to sharpen the current options and introduce some new ones that, okay, so they're pretty much just repeating what they're saying above just for other classes. Okay, so they want to diversify items. Okay, good. They should, to be fair. I mean, these items are OP. Everyone builds them. Everyone builds these items, but that's just because they're so disgustingly overtuned. Like, it's just not, they're just, it's hard not to want to build them because of the stats they offer. It's broken. AD assassin items. Choices beyond ordering. Assassins have a few good choices around which items to buy first, second, or third. But we think that they lack a wider pool of more situational choices than most classes have, and we hope to add a few more options. Okay, I mean, I guess that's fairly accurate. Intentional late build options. Assassins today have to fill out their late build by pulling from other classes, which is, yes, AD carry for Last Whisper and fighters for Black Cleaver. We're looking at what types of items they need late game and where it makes sense for them to draw from other classes like fighters do versus having specialized assassin options. Okay. And then tank options. Wow, there's a lot. What the hell? It's a big post. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're ready. This is a long video. I still want to talk about other things. So let's quickly go through this. More options to adapt to stream strategy. Okay. Filled out magic resist options for tank. The current MR options are a bit niche and feel like they don't offer strong options to deal with teams that require effectiveness against multiple AP play styles. I mean, you pretty much just go Spear Visage and the Mask. I forgot the one that repetitive damage is less damage or something. Sure. Enhanced tank utility. What? Tanks create value for their team by being immovable damage soaks while also providing CC and other utility. We want to create more items to showcase the utility attributes of tanks. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Careful. Late game capstone items. We've seen a satisfying type of item across a few other classes that's only efficient when bought late game, but creates a satisfying capstone that feels like it completes your build, like Death Cap. Okay, that's cool. That'd be pretty cool for late game tanks. But man, that's dangerous too, man. You gotta be careful. Tanks are supposed to get outscaled to a certain extent. Enchanter items. So more options for build variety. Solve active overlord. I mean, overload. True. I play support, pretty much every single item you get is an active item. It's actually pretty difficult to play. And more clear strengths on each item. Cool. Pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think about it below. Before I end this video, guys, quickly, we have a BRG Pike leak skin over here. Check it out. Looks pretty cool. Want to quickly share that. And we have some leaks over here for skins. I don't know how true it is or how not true it is. Keep in mind. But we'll go through it. We have KDA for Kaisa, Evelyn, Ari, Diana, and Akali. We have GG, which is Ezreal, Felix, and Varus, and Kayn. And we have Championship Event being Championship Kaisa. And that's it for this video, guys. There you have it. Boop, just in case. But either way, guys, thanks for watching. This video is already kind of long, longer than I expected. This was a bigger post than I expected. Let me know what you think about it down below. Give you some of my thoughts and input as well. But either way, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.